Hey everybody, this is Pat Jennings again from thebizseller.com, and in this video we're going to discuss how you should handle that very first contact that you have with a potential buyer for your business so that you can quickly figure out if this person is in fact a viable prospect for you or not. And we're going to go over how you can do this without revealing too much to the buyer about you or your business so that you can protect your confidentiality while still finding out what you need to find out about the buyer. Now, as we've discussed in a previous video about how to write a business for sale ad, and there's a link to that video in the description below if you'd like to view that. But as we covered in that video, you need to have a game plan for how you're going to interact, how you're going to talk to buyers. And you need this game plan to be in place before you ever place your first business for sale ad. And in this video, we're going to help you to start developing that game plan for how to handle buyers' questions, and more importantly, I'm going to give you a resource that you can use to develop the questions that you are going to ask the buyer so that you can get truthful information out of them about who they are and what their qualifications are. Now, whether you post a phone number or an email address within your ad, or if you're listed with us at thebizseller.com, we will provide you with a background statement on each buyer. But either way, your first meaningful discussion and your first opportunity to truly size up the business buyer is usually going to be by phone. Now, hopefully, this conversation will turn out to be a discussion between two heavyweights. But realistically, you don't know at this point if this prospect is going to turn out to be a good prospect for you or not. So you need to find out if the buyer is more like a Warren Buffett or if he's more like one of these guys. Now, realistically, most buyers are going to be somewhere in the middle. So after speaking with the buyer for the first time, you are going to have to make a decision about whether you want to invest more of your time and effort with this particular buyer. So the mission, your mission in this initial phone conversation is for you to learn as much as possible about your prospect so that you can determine if it's worth your time to take the next two steps in the process. And those next two steps are, number one, having that prospect sign a confidentiality agreement, sometimes called a non-disclosure agreement. And after they've signed that and returned it to you, you then would present the buyer with your selling memorandum. A selling memorandum is simply a small document you create to give buyers an overview of your business. Sometimes it's referred to as a brochure for your business, but it's created with the idea of being presented to a buyer for your business instead of customers of your business. And we have an instructional article on our website on how you can put that together, and there's a link to that article below this video in the description section. But you're only going to proceed with these two steps if you like what you hear during your initial contact with the buyer. Now, about that first contact, which like I said is usually by phone, how do you proceed? And more importantly, how do you make sure that you stay in control of the conversation so that you can find out what you need to find out? Well, we've posted a detailed article on this topic on our website that includes 11 questions that you might want to ask the buyer, as well as 7 questions that you should be prepared to answer if the buyer asks you. And we also have some good advice there on how to take control of the conversation and how to proceed to the next steps. So instead of going through all 18 of these questions here in a video, you can go to our site and print that out so that you'll have them handy in written form when you need them. And then in future videos, we'll go into more detail about the next steps that you will take with the buyer after you've sent them the selling memorandum and they've had a couple days to digest that. So if you want more information on that, then click the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel, and you'll be notified of all of our future videos, which we usually put up one a week. And speaking of which, I will talk to you next in the next video.